Introduce you again. Hi, everybody. So this evening we are talking about the birth certificate with David. Over to you, David.
Hello, everybody. Birth certificate. This is a really, really important subject. This is to do with names, etc. So the birth certificate, it's a really tricky one to get your head around because it is a bit complicated. And when you think you got there, it's 180 the other way in a way. So I'll go through it and explain the best I can on this one. But if we have a look at a birth certificate here, um, starting up at the top, we can see.
I'll just make it bigger because I've there we go. I make it smaller, I should say, so that we can see the whole thing. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so top right corner, there's an index number or a serial number. This is a unique identifier for the certificate, and that's linked into the accounts that this birth certificate or entry of birth, receipt of an entry of birth, relates to. The legal system, it suretizes your birth certificate. We need to look at the birth certificate from the legal side of things. And to suretize means they make money out of it. They invest in it. It's invested on the stock markets. It's connected to the Sesquiv Trust accounts. And this is what they're after when you go to court and everything else. They're literally trying to just get money off um, the out of the ledger for the Sesquiv account. If you go to court and get £100 fine, they're going to skim £150,000 admin fee for looking after your administrating your account or your affairs. And that's pretty much what the system does and how it works. But moving on, we don't need to go down those roads today with this one. But at the top, it says certified copy of an entry pursuant to the Births and Deaths Registration Act 1953. Now, births, deaths, and marriages are kind of all grouped together anyway. And upon this receipt or certificate, we have a birth, a death, and a marriage, which I'll explain as we go through. This actual birth certificate here is a scan of the actual entry in the registration book. You can see it's off center slightly, and they just printed it onto an A4. So this is actually what's written in the book. It is slightly redacted. As I say, the number in the top right, I've taken a few digits off it. I've taken parents' surnames off as they obviously belong to other people, that sort of information. And I think there's a street name missing. And the first column there, it says number, which is basically the numbered entry of that particular month on the register. So we don't need that number anyway. So if we just have a quick look at column one, we've got 28th of May, 1967. So the column says when and where born. It says born, not birthed. Okay, birth is an admiralty term, a seagoing term, birth of a ship, for example. But where and when born. Now, babies are born, corporations, financial instruments, birth. This is a commercial term, admiralty term, as you say. So we've got 28th of May, 1967, born. And then we've got the name of the road there, which has been redacted again. So moving on to column two, name, if any. Sometimes that column two will say given name. There's numerous different styles of birth certificates. They all say more or less the same thing, but over the years they've changed them. The older ones have more information on them. The newer ones tend to have a little bit less to make this a little less obvious as to what's going on. So name, if any, David. So that's the given name. And when you're asked for your name, if you say anything other than David, then that's not your name. David is the given name. This certificate says that is it. David is the name, the name. No other, just David. Column 3, sex, boy. Boy, girl. That's great. Column 4, it's probably a few more options these days as well, isn't there? We've all gone woke. But column 4, name and surname of father. So we've got Derek William Henry there. Surname's been redacted because it belongs to Derek. We move over to the next column, name, surname, and maiden name, surname of mother. So Jean Margaret, formerly, again, surname's redacted because that belongs to Jean Margaret. So you can see there's no surname on this birth certificate other than surname that belongs to the family or the parents. It's not given to the boy that's born. It's the parent's surname. There's no connection. So column 6, occupation of father. It's a weird thing to have. Why would it matter what the occupation of father is? Occupation is a military term. You occupy foreign lands or whatever else. So it may be there to place the father into military designation. I'm not sure on that one. Column 7, signature description and residence of informant. Now, informant is a weird word to have on there. Informant? We're informing the state of something. There's a bit of a giveaway there. We need to look that word up and find out what informant actually is. But one of your parents would be the informant and they would sign there. Column 8, when registered. Okay, now this is the birth date. If you buy a new car and the new car was made last year but registered yesterday, the only date they're interested in as the legal system is the date it was registered, not when it was made. Same applies here. So the birthday, the day of registration, the day they're asking for when they say, what's your birthday? In this particular case, it's the 16th of June, 1967. So that's the birthday. Don't give them the born day. There's a reason for that. I'll come back to it in a second. We'll just finish off with column 9, signature registrar. And then column 10, name entered after registration. Okay, that's usually left blank anyway, but I guess if you haven't given the baby a name at the time of registration, you've got 12 months, I think, to give it a name. But of course, you've had plenty of time to name the baby at that particular point. So what's happened here, if we pan out a little bit there, Catherine, is to catch all the columns. In column 1, we had when and where born. So the when born is the important one. Now, the legislation that deals with births only actually deals with stillborn. It says all births must be registered or recorded, including stillborn. What that means is there's a maxim called inclusio, which it's also one of the legalese sort of terms. So what inclusio means is anything after the word including or includes is on the list. Anything before that word is not on the list. So the thing is after includes, not before includes. So when it lists all of these things and says including stillborn, it means only stillborn are registered. So everybody is registered as stillborn. Whether you're alive or not, you're registered as stillborn. It's in column 9 when you actually register the life of that baby is that when it's declared living. Until then, the state knows nothing about, so it presumes dead. Again, this is the Sescovy Act 1666, where they changed everything to say everybody's presumed dead unless they can claim back life. It's not necessarily the baby that's claiming life, because obviously this is done through the parents. But when you're born with a placenta. This is your pound of flesh, which is responsible for your debts. This becomes the straw man, the dead entity. So you're born as a twin. One twin is then declared alive, in this case on the 16th of June, and the other twin remains dead. This twin is your straw man, your person, your Mister with the surname. So that in column one is dead entity. So that's the death. The birth is in column 8, yeah, which is the registration. So that's the declaration of life. So you've got a death, then a life, and then you've got a marriage of the two. That marriage becomes a straw man. And that marriage is the dead entity plus the surname of the parent, which becomes your straw man, which is responsible for paying all the debts of the living. And this is why if you use your surname and a title, Mr. will place you into the military. But if you use a surname and your given name, then you are the dead entity that is not only dead, but never aged because it died on day one. So it will always only be 1 day old. So you are a minor of the state and responsible for all the debts. When I say you, when you put your given name with your surname and the Mr. or Mrs. in front of it, the all caps name that we all know about, that is where we are. That's responsible for all the debts. It's a minor owned by the state, which we'll come to in a minute. And because underneath, if we just pan down there a little bit, Catherine.
Yep, sorry, I'll make it smaller.
Yeah, it says certified to be a true entry, certified to be a true copy of an entry in a register in my custody. Okay, so what that's saying, that's signed by, in this case, the deputy superintendent registrar. But in most cases, and the original birth receipt was signed by the registrar general. So certified to be a true copy of an entry in a register in my custody. So that name is in custody of the registrar general. So they're actually responsible for all the debts. And that's the important thing there. So if you use their name, you don't have their permission. We look at the next line down. It says caution.
Sorry about that. The lamp just decided to go for a button. Yeah, sorry. Next line. Yeah.
Yeah, it says caution. There are offences relating to falsifying or altering a certificate and using or possessing a false certificate. And then it says Crown copyright. So they've Crown copyrighted that name. They've Crown copyrighted your straw man. And then they've said that if you use this information incorrectly, i.e., claim the surname that hasn't been given to you and relate it to the given name at the same time, then you may be committing an offence. And because you commit that offence, which is fraud, then every time you commit that offence, every time you are committing fraud. And this birth certificate is the primary document for your driving license, your bank account, passport, and all of these other identity cards, or this digital ID will identify you as this straw man, which you committed the first offence by joining those names. It's not anybody's fault. Nobody did that deliberately, but this is the way it's been pushed upon us. So once you realise this, you can correct it and just use your given name, drop the surname, and you go back into a different jurisdiction. You go back into the jurisdiction of personal and outside of the legal system. So there's the God jurisdiction, if you like, or jurisdiction of the creator. And then there's the jurisdiction of the legal system, which is all the made up fictions and everything else. So if you use your Christian name, you're under God. If you use your surname, SUR, surety, then they're going to cash in on you. And because you've already committed the first offence by using that information incorrectly, then they feel that they can just do that. And yeah, and the last thing, well, not quite the last thing, but on the bottom line on that certificate does say, warning: a certificate is not evidence of identity. Yet every single bit of identity that the state will accept from you was created by this original document. Again, it's another offence. You made that error. You got that identity created by presenting the birth certificate at one time or another. This is the primary document. And because you did that, the fraud is on you. Nobody knew any better or whatever, but this is the issue we've got now, is the fact that the driving license, the passport, all of this is a false identity. It's not you, it's the straw man. And the straw man is created and therefore controlled by the state. And that's what will get you into trouble. Simple cure: drop the surname. Just use your given name and use your date of birth, which is the date of registration, not the day you were born. The born date relates to the dead entity, which puts you back to the debtor. So the date of birth and no surname, brilliant. And we have tried and tested this, and they cannot process you if you do this throughout the system. The police, the courts, none of them can process you. They need those things, not because, oh, we've got to put something in the box. No, they need the surety. This is financial instruments. They can't do their tricks and their magic without that surety name, that surname. So, and also the date of birth, it's kind of like a sort code to the account numbers. So if you look at them as a 6-figure number, so if you use that date of registration as your birth date, which is what it is, that's the birth date, not the born date. That's what they're asking for. You give them the wrong one, then that's on you again. So use that date of registration, get rid of your surname, and you'll find an awful lot of magic starts to happen, and they just can't process you. And just got to stand on that, and that's a winner. I'll go a bit deeper into this another day,
yes,
maybe on the truth and why it's so important. The driving license is a big nasty thing which holds, it's basically a bond. Car, catch and release, CAR, catch and release. This is what they do with their trafficking, is they get you for a speeding or something like that, catch and release. They catch you, ask you to surrender the license. Of course, you get it back again after you've surrendered the license, which if you let them keep it, and game over, you're good. But it's catch and release. They catch you, take some money out of the pot, and then they send you back on your way again, and they catch you again in the car. The car is catch and release. They're after your property, your house, or whatever, eventually. But the catch and release through the driving is the way they get you on that system, and the way they fleece you and bleed you dry. And this is why we're in debt all the time. So yeah, get rid of the surname, use the date of registration, and things will go a little bit smoother. And you'll find it'd be unlikely you'll get a speeding ticket. I don't think anybody's tried it on speeding yet, but yeah, interactions with the police, they can't process you without a surname.
We can do another video on that. That would be good. On how to use the birth certificate in or the information from the birth certificate in different circumstances.
Yeah, it may also be worth. I'll look into this, but send the birth certificate back. Most of these documents appear to be, as I say, financial instruments. If you return everything to the system, then they can't hold you for anything because you're not part of the system. It's all this. You're only in there through a scam, through the fraud. So if you return everything, you're good. The only offence is a legal offence, which if you're not in that system, it's not an offence.
Great. Thank you so much, David. Good evening, everybody. Hope you found that interesting. Thank you.